All right, gang, I've started a travel vlog, but I need my DSLR camera to be able to vlog with. And I really don't want to take the time to disconnect it, put it back up, and all this other stuff. And I needed an option that was not as expensive as DSLR, but maybe gave me something comparable. And that's why I got Elgato Facecam. Hey gang, Jason here with House of Jacobs Gaming, coming to you with another review. We're going to review the Elgato Facecam. Recently, Amazon Prime had their Prime Day, and in that, there was a lot of sales. And as I said in the intro, I am wanting to take my DSLR camera and take it down, bring it with me, and travel with it, but I really don't want to have to set it back up every time I want to stream. So what I'm going to do, I've heard this camera is almost as good a quality as a DSLR, but is much cheaper. So we're going to compare this with the Canon M50 that I'm using for my DSLR, and also a Logitech C920, which is a much cheaper price point. But we're going to open this up, see what's inside, and we're going to do some comparisons. All right, let's open this bad boy up. All right, so inside the box is this fancy manual, which we may go over a little bit. I don't think we will. It just gives you basic setup instructions. That's not bad. Man, Elgato is all about packaging, man. They are really good with this. We've got the included USB-C and USB 3.0 connectors. It is. There you go. This is actually a lot lighter than I thought. And that USB-C is for this. So this will plug in here. And then this will plug into a USB port. Make sure it's the 3. I guarantee if you plug into the 2, you might get it to work, but it probably not work to the quality that you're expecting. I do like the mobility of this thing. This is nice. This is a lot nicer than any of the other webcams I've tried out. I've tried out some real cheap ones. This is the most expensive one I've tried out. This is nice too. This is adjustable for going on to your monitor. I believe this is a lens cap. Nice. None of the other ones I had came with a lens cap. But that's it. That's all that's in here. So I really want to now hook this up to the computer. I'm not going to run a ton of software. I just want to see what it runs out of the box. Just like my C920, I'm not going to run it through its Logitech stuff. And I'm not going to run my DSLR through anything special outside of OBS that I'm using to record this with. So we're going to put all 3 of them on, see which one is the best. I think the DSLR will still be the best. But if this comes to a close second and I can replace my DSLR, that will be freaking amazing. So let's get started. Still using my DSLR at the moment, and I just wanted you to see where I have them both up. This is the Logitech and this is the Elgato Facecam. That in mind, I do want to just switch back and forth just so you can see, and then I'll do some side-by-side comparisons. We're going to start with the C920. All right, this is the Logitech C920. I have all the settings that I have on it are literally just coming through OBS. I'm not using any software on any of these, actually, to help out. You can tell this is a little bit more washed out and white. It's still a good camera. It runs at 1080p, but it only runs at 30 FPS. Still fantastic camera. I've never had any issues with it, and I often use it as a secondary camera for some side shots or stuff like that. I mean, it's for the price, it is a great camera, and I have not had any issues. Comes with a cool little privacy thing like there, and no issues whatsoever. You've already seen the DSLR. I've been recording the whole thing on this. We're going to switch over to the Elgato. And as you can see, this does not wash me out nowhere near as much as that Logitech did. This runs at 1080p and 60 FPS. So if you're streaming in 60 FPS, this is the one you're going to want to have. if you're just getting a face cam. Does run a little bit more, and I think that once I start fooling around with some of the software, after we do just the side-by-side out of the box comparisons, you're gonna see that this Elgato Facecam is probably going to be super powerful. Elgato is well known for their software really kicking in, taking over on this thing. First, I want to do like a triple side-by-side comparison. Right here is my DSLR camera, my Canon M50. Then comes the Elgato Facecam in the middle, and off to the right side is the Logitech C920. And as you can see, the adjustments that I made with the Canon are actually adjustments I've made with the Canon itself, bringing a little bit more warmth and everything in. That's just how I have it set up. It's if I did auto, it would be very similar, but I like to control my lighting and everything and control the settings, so I've just locked them in where I prefer to have them at. I would end up doing the same thing with the Elgato eventually, and I've done the same thing with C920 on other scenes, but these are just outside of the DSLR, having the little bit warmer light. I think that the comparison is fairly close. You can tell in the coloring. Now, the Elgato and the Logitech are right next to each other. DSLR is set further back because that's just where I have it set up. I can't put the DSLR on top of my monitor, so that's just how it goes. But I think that you get a really good comparison, and I think with a few adjustments on this Elgato, I might be able to safely say that I can replace my DSLR camera as my main streaming camera. So let's fool around with the settings, get into the software, because I think that's where we're going to find out what's more powerful, and we'll see what happens from there. All right, so this is going to be a little bit different. You're actually seeing this through my display. And I found out something cool when I was fiddling around with this. So let's just start with the very basics. You got the device, it can pull it into here. You got your zoom, that controls your zoom, obviously. But you can mess with the contrast, the picture, everything that you want to do. It comes preset at 30%, 55%. If you want more saturation, more sharpness, all those things are able to be controlled. Your exposure comes set at automatic. That's why it's so bright like this. But if, say, you want your white balance to be a little bit different and get you that more warm view, and I just turned it to automatic, and I have a little bit of more warmth already. And I did turn on noise reduction earlier messing with it. So you can tell that this is really powerful. Like, the noise reduction takes some of the, I guess, little digital noise that you get when you're using a camera like this and just kind of takes it away. You can go to the anti-flicker of 50% or 50 hertz or 60 hertz, depending on where you are. If you're in America, you want to use 60 hertz. Pretty much everywhere in Europe, I believe, uses 50 hertz. You can mess with the temperature more, make it super orange, or just let it be automatic. I think I like this 5,000 setting. I think it's not far off from what I have for my DSLR. The exposure, this is where it does something that most webcams do not do. So with the exposure, you can actually adjust the ISO settings. ISO does a little bit with how much light there is and how dark it is. It can actually lighten up the room and such. As you can see, as I go up more, it just takes in more and more light. You can actually fiddle with shutter speed as well, bringing that way high or way low. Obviously, the longer that the shutter is open, the more light that you will see. That's why that you have this like 1/30th, 1/25th. The lower the bottom number, the faster that the shutter will move and stuff, and it's essentially open longer. I'm not a complete genius on this stuff. I'm just now really getting into it. We're going to set it back at 160, I believe, originally. And I like the ISO at about 300. I feel like for daytime streaming, that'll be good. But if it gets nighttime and your room's a little bit darker, by all means, throw that bad boy into a little bit higher ISO, and that brings in more light in a darker room. So here is what I thought was interesting. There is a save button. Okay, so I save these settings. This will just be however it is right now, right? I've taken off the automatics. I've screwed with it. I've turned the saturation up. I'm just gonna make it completely out of whack so that we understand even the zoom, that this is the setting. This is the settings that I have it at. I'm going to save. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is disconnect the camera and reconnect it. I'm going to shut down the software and everything. And we're going to go back to my regular Facecam. Like there. All right. So now we're going to get rid of the camera. We're going to shut it off. I'm going to unplug it right here. Okay. Unplug it. Okay. I'm going to plug it back in. And I'm going to bring it in through OBS, not through the software. Meaning the software is not running anymore, right? I've turned off the software. I'm going to bring it in through OBS. And you're going to see that it actually saves the settings on the camera, which is amazing. I don't know how many times you lose power or something, or even if you shut it off like with the Logitech, those settings don't stay. So here we go. Here's the Elgato. Super zoomed in, ridiculous brightness, just the way that I set it before. Let me pull it over here so I can see it. Yeah, so this is just the way that I had it set before with the software, and now it's pulling it in with those settings. So you can actually go into the software, because I know with like sometimes with the Logitech Capture, it's easier to just grab the Logitech Capture and have that software up and running. But personally, I just don't like having a million windows up. I already have enough windows open when I'm streaming. I don't need any more. So being that this camera actually saves the settings, you can set it however you want in the Elgato software, save it, and then pull it in as its own source through OBS. If you lose power or whatever, I unplugged it. I did absolutely nothing, plugged it back in, and it zoomed in on my face, super bright, just the way I set it. And I'm going to pull back up the software just so we can see where we're at. Oops. And we should see the same settings. So I got to shut off the camera, go back to my front cam, and I will go pull that back up, show you what we got on the hub. Still the same settings, a 60% zoom, a 63% saturation, the 160 that I set it at, the 342 ISO, and having the 5,000 temperature. It's still there. Dude, this thing is amazing. Being that I have this much capability to do things with, let's go back to my regular cam, just for now. Being that I have this much opportunity and power with the paired software in this thing, the fact that I can zoom pretty much as far as I want, I can set the ISO, I can set the temperature, I can set the saturation, the zoom, everything in the software, unplug it, move it around, it won't lose its settings, and I can just bring it in. I feel like I can take down my DSLR and not feel like I'm losing out on pretty much anything. I'd be interested to see how well it works with a green screen, but most of the time, OBS is what's doing all the power, all the work with the green screen, and it's not the camera, because that's all just run by OBS and filter stuff. So I don't know, the Elgato Facecam, guys, much better obviously than a regular C920 Logitech or anything cheaper. I don't know, it may be, I feel like it may be on par with a DSLR camera. The only thing that the DSLR camera has is that I can take it and move it around too. So if you're just looking for an amazing stream camera that should basically do whatever you want at 1080p 60 fps, if you're streaming it higher than that, almost nobody's watching. So yeah, the Elgato Facecam, guys, highly recommended. I'll leave a link below. Please use that if you're interested in checking it out yourself. Thank you very much. This has been another House of Jacobs review. Check out our other stuff. We've started doing some travel vlogs and everything, which is why I bought this camera to replace my DSLR. I need it to do other things. But thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time on the House of Jacobs.